Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today in Legends ReWritten, I'm going to be making my magic artifact tier list. So there is a total of 16 magics we're going to go over, and I'm going to pin a comment down below on how to obtain every single one. In this video, I'm going to be rating the magics based on whether they have a dash, whether they have a spec, how much the DPS is on the magic attacks themselves, whether or not they are hard to obtain, and whether or not they actually have gear items that may boost the damage. With that said, we're going to be starting with the C category, because no magic in this game is absolutely trash, at least in my opinion. So the first one in the C category is the Wind Artifact. The Wind Artifact gives no dash, however, if you have this learned, you do have an infinite jump, so that's somewhat cool. Its first move, Ronzangon's absolutely terrible. Its second move you get at level 7, Razor Wind. This is pretty solid. Basically, it's just a attack that pushes an enemy away. It's okay. At level 15, you get Windblade. Windblade is one of the better moves of the 4. It's basically just a ranged slicing attack, pretty solid. And at level 30, you get Wind Shuriken, the best overall attack in the Wind Artifact. It just does a small amount of AoE damage. Overall, there is just so many better artifacts in the game. So the next artifact is going to be the artifact of Sand. So Sand basically has a dash where if you hold down Q, you're just going to constantly run through the air running on sand. It's somewhat useful. Its first move at level 1, Sand Shuriken, isn't the best. At level 17, you get the move Sand Coffin. Sand Coffin is good at stunning enemies, so this can be somewhat useful. At 35, you get Sand Burial. This is also good at stunning enemies, and you can kind of use the 2 to constantly stun someone, so it's okay. And at level 50, you get Sand Tsunami. The reason why this is only in the C category is because the damage of the moves are pretty awful. Now, this next one in the C tier might be a little surprising, but it's actually going to be the artifact Magma. So Magma has a pretty decent dash. You just spam Q and you kind of dash forward in a pool of lava. Its first move, Magma Fist, basically you just shoot a bunch of lava out, is pretty solid. At level 17, Magma Plume, basically a bunch of magma comes out like around you. It's like an AoE attack. It's pretty decent. At level 30, Magma Rush, you basically do the same thing as Magma Plume, but moving forward. At level 48, you get Magma Blast. Now, Magma Blast does do decent damage. It's like the only decent move in the set, and it does have a spec known as Magma Eruption at level 63. Now, you might be wondering how Magma is in the C category with a spec and dash, but it's because the DPS of the moves are not very high. So now we're going to be moving on to the B tier. So the first one in the B tier we're going to talk about is the artifact of Water. Water is very decent. It has a similar dash to Magma. You just dash forward a little bit, surrounded by water. Its first move, Water Pulse, is pretty solid. Its next move at level 8 is Water Pillars. This is definitely one of the ones I recommend you use. This is a fantastic move early in the game. At level 20, you unlock Surf, which is like a big wave. At level 30, you get Water Strike. At level 45, you get Water Shower. Both of these are very similar. You like just summon a beam of water in a sense and just do very, very good damage. And it has a spec at level 70 known as Hydro Pump that also does fantastic damage. So this artifact is definitely usable. It's definitely an artifact you can use while farming enemies to get better artifacts, but the reason why it's in the B category is simply because there are better options out there. So the next one in the B tier is the artifact of Ice. Ice has a dash very similar to Sand. If you hold Q while you are running, you're just going to walk on ice in the air. At level 1, it has a move known as Ice Charge. This is great for spam stunning enemies, super spammable and solid. At level 5, you get El Humma. I'm definitely saying that wrong, just a very solid projectile. Level 15, you get Frostbite. This is one of the best moves of Ice because this can be used to stun enemies very consistently. At level 30, you get Icequake. This is just a AoE move that you use in front of you. It's pretty solid. At level 50, you get Glaciate, which does a lot of damage. Is really good to combo with Frostbite. And at level 74, you get the spec Crystal Shatter, and Crystal Shatter just does a bunch of damage. So the next one in the B tier is the Spirit Artifact. Spirit Artifact has no dash. Its move at level 1 is Spirit Gun. Basically, you just charge up some magic and then let it go and attack. It does solid damage. Level 10, you get Spirit Sword. Basically, your hands turn into swords and you do okay damage in front of you. It's kind of the worst of the 4 moves. Level 25, you get Shotgun. Shotgun is a great move if you can land all the beams right in front of you. At level 50, you unlock Darkness Flame, which is probably the best move of the 4. Darkness Flame is basically an attack. You just click twice and you shoot off this massive magic attack that has some DOT and very good damage. So overall is very deserving of a B. So the last one in the B tier is going to be the Fire Magic or the Flame Artifact, whatever you want to call it. It has that basic dash where basically you just dash forward a little bit surrounded by the element of the magic that you're using. At level 1, it gets Fire Shards. This isn't the best move. Level 10, it gets Flame Explosion, which is a pretty solid move. It's like a fireball of sorts. Level 20, you get Fire Spin. This is really good because basically a tornado spawns where your cursor is. Great fire attack. Level 30 you get Fireball, has really good damage, and at level 40 you get Flame Blast, which also has really good damage. And then it has a spec at level 67 known as Fire Nova. All of the moves of fire do great damage. It's a very good element to get early on in the game. So now we are moving on to the A tier, and the first one in the A tier is going to be the Artifact of Light. So the Artifact of Light has an amazingly fast dash. It's super duper good. It's also super easy to obtain. Its level 1 attack is Light Beam. Light Beam is super spammable and does very decent damage. At level 10 you get Light Charge. Light Charge does fantastic damage. Level 25 is Light Blast, and level 40 is Light Kick. These are very similar moves. Basically, you launch out an attack, it explodes, does some AoE damage, and is pretty spammable. At level 72, you unlock the spec known as Shrine of Heaven. And Shrine of Heaven is a fantastic spec to get early on in the game. It does a lot of damage. Next, we're going to talk about the Artifact Hero. So Hero does have no dash, but what's unique about it is it actually unlocks a V attack or spec attack of a sword known as the Enema Elish. And this sword does fantastic damage, and that's kind of why Hero's in the A. So its moves itself is Chain Strike at level 1. Chain Strike is pretty solid. At level 27 you get Gate of Babylon, which is basically just spamming spear range attacks. Gate of Babylon is pretty fantastic. Level 41 you get Chains of Heaven. This is just a move that will be stunning your enemies. And at level 56 you get Chain Destruction, which is a big stun and does very good damage, but its CD is pretty long. And at level 70 you unlock Hero's Light. However, you must have the Hero's Book to use Hero's Light, so it is a little bit frustrating. So you have to get a lot of rare items to get the full potential out of Hero. So the next magic we're going to talk about is the magic of Ope, or Ope, however you say it. The Ope magic's a little complicated. In order to use any of the moves, you must use the spec known as Room, and Room summons a massive field around you. Within this field, you can use all of Ope's attacks, and also within this field, you can teleport anywhere in it as long as you have the Ope dash on. Also, the Ope Katana will summon the Room instead of the spec if you have it learned while using the Ope Katana, which is a really awesome feature. Anyways, its level 1 attack is Counter Shock. It's an okay attack at best. Level 25 you get Cut. Cut basically summons objects from around you into the air, and if you hit E they come back down, dealing really good damage. At level 50 you get Talked. I definitely can't say it right, but this move makes enemies levitate around you. This is really good to combo with Cut. At level 95 you get Gamma Knife, which is an okay dash attack, and at level 150, the highest magic attack in the game, you get Mess, which is basically where you steal an enemy's heart, and every single time you click your mouse, you're gonna deal really good damage. So Ope, if used correctly, has fantastic damage. So the next A tier artifact is the Z magic. It has one of the fastest, if not the fastest dash in the game. Very good dash. At level 1 it has Ki Blast, which is just super spammable long range attack. Fantastic. Level 15 you have Beam Cannon, which is a little less spammable than Ki Blast, but it does great damage, really good move. Level 36 you get the Kamehameha, which is a charge beam attack, really good move as well. Level 49 you get Omega Blaster, which is basically just a ball of energy you throw, dealing big damage. At level 62 you get Spirit Bomb, which is a chargeable attack. If you charge this attack all the way and use it, you're going to be dealing massive damage with this. And then its spec at level 65 is one of the best specs in the game, Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan is going to make you do double damage until you either run out of mana, stamina, or something like that, and then it will go away. So the big problem with Z magic is most of the moves are super duper mana intensive, but they do have massive damage. We're going to go over the last artifact in the A tier, and that's the artifact known as Lightning. So Lightning has that standardish dash where basically you just get surrounded by the element and you just dash forward a little bit. It's pretty solid. At level 1 you get Chidori, terrible move, but at level 14 you get Lightning Stream, which is a pretty decent move. You just basically summon lightning on the ground and it will strike nearby enemies. Level 32 you get Lightning Blast, which is like an Emperor Palpatine style move. You basically just shoot out lightning in front of you, dealing medium damage. At level 46 you get Lightning Strike, which is a very good move because it stuns enemies and it does great damage. At level 76 you get the first spec known as Thunderclap. It does do very good damage, but the other spec at level 137 does way more damage. It's known as Thunderball, and it's one of the best specs in the whole game. It does just crazy amount of damage. Now with this artifact, if you have the Taiko drums on, you're going to be dealing 50% more damage with all lightning artifact moves, and if you're using the lightning rod, you're actually going to be doing more damage with this M1 combo if lightning artifact is learned. But with that said, we're gonna move into the final 4 magics, the 4 S's, at least in my opinion. So first, we're gonna talk about the magic Gum. So Gum has the best dash in the game. Basically, you're like Spider-Man, you latch onto an object within your range, and then you're gonna launch off of it and just go forward a lot. It's really fast. At level 1, you get Rubber Pistol. It does a very good amount of damage, medium-ish range. Level 25, you get War Axe. War Axe is fantastic when you're in the enemy's face. It does great damage. Level 43, you get Gatling Gun, which is one of the best DPS moves in the entire game right now. It's a very close range attack though. Level 60, you get Gum Bazooka, which is also one of the most damaging moves in the game right now, and plus you can hit your friends with this and fling them all over the map. It's kind of funny. And then the spec at level 70 is known as Gear 2, and this is the best spec in the game, at least in my opinion right now, because you're getting a damage buff with it and a speed buff, but you're not having your mana and stamina drain like Super Saiyan, so it's very good. And plus, if you have the like stupidly rare Straw Hat, you're doing 75% more damage with all Gum attack moves. But most people watching this video will not have a Straw Hat, and you do not need the Straw Hat to make this artifact really good. So the next S is going to be the artifact of Esper. So Esper does have a dash. Basically what you do is you just fly around the map. If you hit Q once with it, it's the best artifact dash for climbing to the flying islands in World 2. Its level 1 move is Psychic. It's not very good. Next is a level 19 move known as Meteor Strike. Meteor Strike is one of the best moves in the game because it does like 900 damage at a 3-second cooldown with good range. Very, very good move, and it's often overlooked. I really do recommend people trying it. At level 39, you get Gravity, and level 51, you get Gravity Explosion. Both of these are very, very similar. Basically, they just stun the enemy for a sec, and both will just be an attack wherever your cursor is, dealing medium-ish AoE damage with an okay cooldown. However, Esper's spec at level 80 100%, while being the most annoying thing to deal with in group play, does do an insane amount of damage. Like, it just shreds everything. Now, it does cost a lot of mana to use, and I wouldn't use it in groups because it can often fling and glitch your allies, but it is very, very good and does do a lot of damage. So next, we're gonna go over the magic known as Tremor. So Tremor does not have a dash, however, it has some very, very good moves. Level 1 is Tremor Punch, which is basically an infinitely spammable close range attack. At level 30 is Tremor Blast, a very good medium range attack that is super spammable. Level 49 is Airquake, which is a close range AoE attack, it's not the best. And at level 61 is Tremor Quake, a close range, very, very good AoE attack. And then its spec at level 90 is Seaquake, where you just summon in 2 massive waves to deal pretty decent damage. Now, the reason why this has an S tier is simply because Tremor Blast and Tremor Quake are easily 2 of the best moves in the entire game. They have very, very high DPS, and this artifact you really can't go wrong with using. I just wish I had a dash and maybe it was a little easier to obtain. The final artifact in the S tier is the artifact known as Dark. So the Dark magic has no dash, however it has the best DPS move in the game. At level 1 you get the move Darkness, it's utterly trash. Level 21, you get the move Black Hole, which is basically a projectile you can spam, dealing medium damage and sucking in enemies. Level 39, you get Dark Void, which is basically another move you can use to just deal very good damage and suck in enemies. And at level 50, you get the best move in the game, Liberation. Liberation has a very low cooldown and deals more damage than most specs. It is absolutely absurd, and it's the only reason why Dark is in the S category. Liberation is insane. Anyways, it does get a spec at level 70 known as Yami, but the spec is alright at best. It has a big cooldown and deals moderate damage. Anyways guys, that is going to be the end of the magic artifact tier list. Leave a like if you enjoyed. This video did take a lot of time to make, and of course all of these are just my own opinions. If you guys do disagree, comment down below your own magic tier list. Anyways guys, make sure to subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye!